Prendergast.
Imagine going for a walk in the bush and there's no wildflowers. Imagine going to your favourite millennials cafe and you can't buy a smashed avocado. Imagine trying to do a PhD without coffee. This is a future without bees. And I'm not talking about the European honeybee, an introduced species. And as we know from cats and cane toads, introduced species typically have negative effects on our wildlife. No, I'm talking about our native bees. There are in fact 2,000 species of native bees in Australia. These are the bees that I love. They give me a real buzz, and the ones that we really need to protect. You see, native bees are often better pollinators compared with honeybees, and this is especially the case for our wildflowers. Our wildflowers draw people in, near and far. They're what make Australia's landscapes Australia. But no native bees, no native wildflowers. Native bees can also be better pollinators of fruit and veggies. Take tomatoes, for example. Honeybees can't pollinate these, but our native blue-banded bees, they produce bumper crops. Now the issue is that our native bees are under threat, suffering from a lack of feed resources as vegetation is cleared to make way for cities. How can we help them? By planting flowers, but not just any flowers. Many of our native bees are quite selective in what they'll forage on. My research is dedicated to saving the bees by identifying what flowers they really need. I've spent over 2 years in front yards and backyards, in patches of bush around the city, recording all the flowers that the native bees visit and don't visit. So, what did I find? Well, over these 2 years, I made observations of over 27,000 native bees belonging to over 120 species. So there clearly is a rich biodiversity of bees in the burbs. But now, to my crucial research question, what flowers do our native bees need? Well, concerningly, many flowers marketed as bee-friendly on popular gardening websites actually aren't that attractive to native bees. Plant these, and it's like trying to offer Brussels sprouts to kids. They just won't go for them. Instead, what are key draw cards for our native bees are native wildflowers, in particular our iconic eucalypts, bottle brushes, and native pea plants. So, what does this mean? Well, firstly, we really need to protect and restore patches of native vegetation around the city. Secondly, we need to encourage garden centres, gardeners and homeowners to go native in their floral selection. If we adopt these measures, we can ensure that our native bees will keep on buzzing in the burbs.
Yes. Very well done. Now let's go to our judges. Who would like to take up the microphone first? Professor Lynn Beasley.
How important this is, because the future of the planet depends on pollination. Well said. So, one of the other aspects of bees is they're having to compete with other species, introduced species, for nest sites as well. So as well as providing the right flowers for them, what else do we need to do so our native bees are going to be there with us long term? Love the flowers, but what about the rest of their lives?
So native bees, the majority of native bees actually don't nest in colonies in hollows in wood. So that's the case for the European honeybee. And the native bees are actually very different in their ecologies to honeybees, which is why it's so important to study native bees, because we can't translate all the research that's been done on honeybees to native bees. So native bees, the majority of them actually nest in the ground, so we need to not put pavements over everything and mulch over everything. The rest of the native bees, they actually nest in small little cavities in wood created by wood-boring beetles. So we need to retain our native trees, and we can also create bee hotels, which is as simple as getting a block of wood and drilling 3 to 7 millimeter holes in it, or getting some bamboo with the similar diameters and putting it in a bundle and putting it up in trees.
Wow.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for that, and congratulations on a great subject, but also a really popular one. One of our colleagues at the museum published the guide to native bees last year, and I tweeted about it, thinking I get about 2 retweets, and it's the most retweeted thing I've ever had. So bees are definitely big. But I'm interested in what the stimuli are from it. So is it olfactory? Is it colours? What is it that actually draws them to these particular plants? Or is it just availability?
It's a combination of factors, but in terms of why they're attracted to these plants, it's the native pea plants and the bottle brushes and the eucalypts. They're dominant plants in the Australian landscape, and they've been co-evolving with our native bees for many, many years, centuries, because Australia's been isolated as a continent. So when we bring in these exotic flowers, it's not part of what they've evolved to be attracted to. They don't have those same cues.
And are they very sort of species specific to?
It varies depending on species. Some species of bee will only forage on plants in one genus, or even only some species in that plant genus. So, but then we've got bees that, like the blue-banded bee, they're actually quite general, so they will be able to pollinate tomatoes and other crop plants.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.